Tonight on Reporting Scotland, a family devastated as police say a missing mother is believed to be dead. A man has been arrested in connection with the disappearance of Khasha Smith in Edinburgh. Also in tonight's programme, the Highlands could be the latest area to bring in a tourist tax, but could it put visitors off coming?
Would you pay it? Would you mind paying it?
Yeah, how much? It depends.
If the levy on visitors is introduced, it could be used to pay for repairs to roads and infrastructure across the region. A new crossing for the Clyde, a pedestrian and cyclist footbridge from Govan-Partick is officially opened. And meet high-flying Gladys Speedy, who's marked her 90th birthday by ziplining from 100 feet in the air for charity.
Exhilarating, wonderful. The cage wobbles a little bit, going up, but you're well harnessed, you're all stuck on, and then you get onto the wire and there's a whoosh and you're away.
Hello, I'm Sally Magnuson. Welcome to Friday's programme. A mother of three who's been missing for almost a year is believed to be dead. Khasha Smith from Edinburgh was last seen in a FaceTime call with her family last October. Police say her body has not been found, but they've arrested a 39-year-old man in connection with her death. Our reporter Richard Forbes has more.
For the first time, detectives have said publicly that they are convinced this mother of three has died. Although Khasha Smith's body has not been found, this morning a man was arrested in connection with her death. The 35-year-old has been missing from her Westerhales home for almost a year. Police Scotland's major investigation team carried out inquiries into all aspects of Khasha's life. Earlier this week, specialist search officers returned to the woodlands a few hundred yards from her flat. Police have been trying to work out Khasha's movements before and after her disappearance. The 10th of October was the last time Khasha was seen safe and well. That was during a FaceTime call. In January, her family reported her missing. Later that month, officers searched the woodland, canal and metal containers near Khasha's flat. 2 days ago, officers returned to search the canal bank again. They said that decision had been prompted by a review of the existing evidence. Earlier this year, Khasha's mother made a public appeal.
If anyone out there knows anything, please, I'm begging you, please come forward.
Following Khasha's disappearance, flowers and photographs have been left here outside her flat by Khasha's friends and family. They've been made aware of today's developments and are being supported by specialist officers. The detective leading the inquiry says her relatives are understandably devastated and it's vital to get answers for them. He says anyone with information should come forward as a matter of urgency. Richard Forbes, Reporting Scotland.
Some of the day's other stories now. A body has been found in the search for a 77-year-old climber missing during a visit to Glencoe. Ian Miles was last seen at about 9 o'clock yesterday morning and was believed to have planned to climb the mountain beach in Nambian. Police said formal identification had still to take place, but Mr. Miles' family had been informed. A primary school in Perthshire, which was evacuated after a suspected chemical leak, remained closed today as a precautionary measure. Emergency services were called when an adult working at Crieff Primary School became unwell. 10 adults were taken to Ninewells Hospital in Dundee. Most have since been discharged. A deep clean will take place over the weekend. A 21-year-old man has been charged with a road traffic offence more than a year after a motorcyclist died in a crash in West Lothian. Natalie Hawkins died at the scene on the A89 between Armadale and Westrigg in August last year. The man will appear in court at a later date. The Highlands are gorgeous and visitors love to come. Now Highland Council is preparing to consult on a new tourist tax which would see those visitors charged for overnight stays. The local authority believes it could raise millions of pounds to help with growing infrastructure problems across the region. Ian McInnes has more.
The Highlands' beauty is unrivalled, but its roads and infrastructure are crumbling. While there's a warm welcome for visitors, the sheer numbers are taking their toll. But could a visitor levy make a difference here?
We have issues with our roads, the state of the roads in Highland, with basic tourist facilities, toilets, etc., as well as general infrastructure. So this additional money will allow us to address some of these problems, because at the moment our infrastructure is deteriorating and it's becoming increasingly difficult year on year to find the money to address that.
There are many questions about how the scheme would work here, how the money would be gathered, how much it would cost, and where that money would be spent. Now, the council say they want to engage with all sectors across the Highlands over the coming months as they try to shape what the scheme will look like. For those heading in search of Nessie today, a mixed view on their willingness to pay more.
In Venice, there is an extra tax because the extra tourism, and so could be a way to preserve this, to save this.
Would you pay it? Would you mind paying it?
Yeah, how much? It depends.
Sort of thing.
It would be great if the roads get better, especially in the Highlands, because as tourists we are not used to driving on the left side of the road, and it's quite dangerous for us. So the streets could be better.
I would discourage it because it will discourage people from. Even now, it's very difficult to come and do these activities because it's roughly 3 times as much as we used to do a couple of years ago. So I would suggest not to do it purely because it will just discourage people to come out.
Scotland is not as cheap as otherwhere, so if you increase the taxes and it would become more expensive, so no, I wouldn't say it's good.
Those offering accommodation across the region have also raised concerns.
In August, we actually saw, as a region, out of 25 hotels that I've got the data for, 10,000 fewer visitors. And that's one of our peak months of the year. If we put a visitor levy on top of that, potentially that's even less people. And the financial impact on that is not just on the hotels, but it's the on-spend to the other businesses within the area.
The consultation will be launched in late autumn and will run for 3 months, with much debate to come on how to balance the benefits of tourism against its impact. Ian McInnes, reporting Scotland.
A new bridge to carry pedestrians and cyclists over the River Clyde has been officially opened ahead of a weekend of celebrations. The Govan-Partick crossing in Glasgow will be one of the longest bridges of its kind in Europe because it can open to allow ships to sail up and down the river. Our transport correspondent David Henderson is there for us tonight. David, the public get to go across tomorrow.
Yes, indeed, Sally. A lovely evening here on the Clyde. For many people living nearby, the view will be all that bit better because of the presence of this new bridge here. It's taken 2.5 years to build. It's cost £30 million. That funding has come from the Glasgow Region City deal, funding from both the Scottish Government and the UK Government. And now it's pretty much ready to go. So when it opens to the public tomorrow, it'll be possible for pedestrians and cyclists to go back and forward between Govan on the south side of the river and Partick here on the north side of the river. Now, of course, these are two communities which are just a few hundred metres apart, but for so long they've been divided by this mighty river. But now the hope is that this new link will create opportunities for people on both sides.
Govan has become a bit cut off and a bit isolated, and that has certainly not helped the quite deeply embedded multiple deprivation and poverty in a community like Govan. For me, what is really important about a piece of infrastructure investment like this is that it is, being a bit cheesy, a bridge to, a better places and better lives and better opportunities.
David, there used to be a little ferry going across. Is the bridge in the same place?
Well, yes, indeed, Sally. This certainly opens a new chapter in the history of the Clyde because, as you say, there used to be a ferry here, the Govan ferry, which really crossed back and forward right behind us here where the bridge is now. But of course that closed back in the 1960s, but it's not forgotten because the winches for that chain ferry have now been restored and they've taken pride of place on the south side of the river at Govan, right next to where the bridge stands. So that remains the case. Now, as you can see, the bridge is pretty long. It's something like 115 metres across, but unusually it is able to swing open, which makes it one of the biggest of its type in Europe, and that's to allow vessels, ships to continue to travel up and down the Clyde, which is a reminder that a lot has changed on the Clyde in recent decades, but it remains a working river. Now, Sally, the official name of this bridge, I'll get this right, is the Govan-Partick Bridge, but if other bridges on the Clyde are anything to go by, the Squinty Bridge, the Squiggly Bridge, then all it needs is a nickname, and then it'll be ready. Sally.
Heaven knows what they'll go for next time. Thank you very much indeed, David Henderson there on the Clyde. The quest for the origins of Stonehenge's famous altar stone continues as the latest research finds it did not come from mainland Orkney. It emerged last month that the 6-ton stone didn't come from Wales, as previously thought, but from northeast Scotland. Now the hunt by academics continues as they try to pinpoint its exact origins.
As I say, Orkney was the most obvious target for a source of the altar stone, but it isn't. So it must, the most likely source we think is probably mainland, somewhere in Caithness or maybe North Aberdeenshire.
Now, it may not be much to look at, but artist Anya Galaccio hopes her latest work will tickle the taste buds of her hometown of Paisley. Her work, Stroke, involves many layers of dark chocolate on the walls of an empty shop on the high street. Our arts correspondent Pauline McLean has been to meet her.
We are in a room that is painted with chocolate, so you are smelling a very concentrated, very intense chocolatey smell, which I think will, for some people, be delicious, and for some people will be revolting.
Artist Anya Galaccio is brutally honest about her newest artwork. It doesn't look much, but close your eyes and use your imagination, and this chocolate-painted work is a feast for the senses. It's the latest work to arrive on a Scottish high street, courtesy of the sculpture park Jupiter Artland. This work by Rachel McLean not only provided a burst of colour for locals in Ayr, but learning opportunities for hundreds of young people. And the hope is that it'll do the same for Paisley.
It's an economic generator because it will bring people here that supports our local businesses, but it's also an open art experience for people. We're all people who have opinions about art, who like things or don't like things, but people can come think about it of critical thinking, maybe consider visiting again, visiting something else. And it's just another way that people can step into enjoying art and thinking about it.
Anya has recreated the work in many different parts of the world, but she says Paisley, where she was born, is a special moment, even if she doesn't know quite how audiences will react.
I did it in Japan, which again I think of the Japanese as quite reserved.
Yeah.
They lick the walls as well.
Really? Gosh.
And I was just like, wow, that's really interesting. There's no sign saying lick the walls, but they did. And then when I did it in London, it was more furtive, like people in the corners picking at it to see if it was really chocolate.
Less likely as the chocolate paint oxidises and slowly decays, but the young curatorial team are ready for anything.
I guess that's going to be the challenges I'm going to have to face. I think people that are too keen, maybe going to have to be like, okay, maybe don't lick the walls, you know. And people that are not keen will be like, yeah, come in, you know, come and see it. It is for you all.
The work is on display until the end of December. The hope is that the old shop will then become a new cafe, where the only chocolate comes on a plate or in a mug, not on the walls. Polly McLean, reporting Scotland, Paisley.
Now to the Paralympics, and Gordon Reid and Alfie Hewitt have secured their first wheelchair tennis doubles gold with a straight sets win over Japanese pair Tokita Oda and Takuya Miki. The GB pair had the edge in an entertaining final, winning 6-2, 6-1, and completes a career golden slam for Reid and Hewitt in the doubles. It's a fifth Paralympics medal for 32-year-old Reid, who is now the first British Paralympics player to win wheelchair tennis gold in both the singles and the doubles. Well, the Scots' success in Paris didn't stop there, as Kirkcaldy athlete Ben Sandilands set a new world record in the T20 1500 metres, and GB's Sophie Unwin and Jenny Hall took their second gold medal of the Games in the women's B road race. 24-year-old Scott Hall, who is the pilot to her GB teammate Unwin, pulled off a spectacular sprint in the last 400 metres to overtake their Irish opponents and secure a fourth medal of the Games. Earlier today in the T20 1500 metres, Sandilands put in a storming last lap to finish in 3 minutes 45.40 seconds, a new world record, beating the old mark held by American Mikey Brannigan since 2017. Certainly a golden day for the Scots in Paris. And finally to cricket, and Scotland fell to another defeat against Australia in the second match of their T20 series, losing by 70 runs in Edinburgh. After Australia set the pace of 196, the Scots could only muster 126 runs in response, losing the series with one match still to be played at the Grange in what was a disappointing performance in the end. The final game will take place tomorrow at 2 o'clock. You can watch it live on the BBC Sport website and iPlayer.
That was a kind of up and down sports.
The highs and lows of
wasn't it?
sports, Sally.
Yeah,
that's it right there.
Yeah, well, thanks very much indeed, Lewis.
Thank you.
Now it's over to Laura to see what's coming up on the BBC Scotland channel at 7 o'clock.
Hello, on tonight's programme, we are in the States as a 14-year-old boy and his father have appeared in court following the high school shooting in the state of Georgia on Wednesday. In the wake of the death of Olympic long-distance runner Rebecca Cheptegei, we hear from the UN about violence facing women and girls in East Africa. And busy with this, I sat down with the band's leader, Amanda McKinnon, ahead of a special anniversary gig this weekend. See you at 7.
But right now, just as well, the weather was kind today because Gladys Speedy was heading for the skies to celebrate her birthday. That's her there, if you can see the dot, taking to a zip line 100 feet over the River Clyde, as you do when you're 90 years old. Katrina Renton was there to watch.
Getting ready for her big moment. Gladys Speedy turned 90 in April. She'd been planning this challenge as part of the celebrations.
You've got a great name for this, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. What could be better? I mean, you couldn't
Speedy.
bring this with a name like Brown or Green or anything like that, could you? It
Speedy?
has to be Speedy.
So you're going to go fast?
All the way. Boom, boom. Fast and furious.
Friends Peggy and Anne are going up with her.
I'm behind her all the way.
Quite literally?
Quite literally, yeah.
Tell me, Gladys, why are you doing this today? Because this is a brave thing to be doing.
Well, you have to be brave if you're going to do something worthwhile.
Gladys was a lecturer in nursing in Glasgow. Today, some of her former students came to cheer her on.
It's 40 years
we
since
saw
we've
it in
seen
the
her.
press. And now you're seeing her flying through the sky.
No, she was always up for anything about, even as a lecturer, she was a bit of fun as well.
And you've not changed a bit.
Not in 40 years, she's still the same Gladys.
I know.
Yeah, we hope at 90 we're still got the same oomph.
Friend and former colleague Betty offered her support.
Gladys was just about to have her 90th birthday and she was anxious to do something special. She always does with these birthdays of the decade. And this was to be the special thing.
Are you even slightly worried about this, or are you completely looking forward to it?
Looking forward to it with gusto.
I can see that. Right, we better let you get on with it then.
Yes.
We'll be cheering you on.
To my cage.
We're cheering you on.
And it's up, up and away, 100 feet into the air. And away she goes, across the Clyde. And what goes up must come down.
Exhilarating, wonderful. The cage wobbles a little bit, going up, but you're well harnessed, you're all stuck on, and then you get onto the wire and there's a whoosh and you're away.
Well done, we're so proud of you.
This is my niece. My niece.
What do you think of your auntie?
I think she's an absolute inspiration.
And her great-niece Ainsley and great-grandnephew Carson, who's won tomorrow, were proud too. So this was Gladys's 90th. Her friends are suggesting maybe a skydive for her 100th. Katrina Renton, reporting Scotland, Glasgow.
Well done, Gladys. Let's go to Chris now with the news that it's been the hottest summer globally since records began. Goodness,
Yes.
you could have fooled us.
Yes, it was quite the opposite here in Scotland, wasn't it? But let me just talk to you about today's weather. It was the warmest day of the year across western Scotland, 27.1 degrees at Dunstafnage, that's near Oban, also down towards Stranraer. And actually, you need to go back to May to get anywhere close to that. So we went the whole summer with temperatures nowhere near there.
OK, well,
Thanks,
I'm
Sally.
baffled.
Good evening to you. Yes, we had some lovely warm sunshine around today across many parts of the country. Wasn't the case everywhere. Let me show you the satellite image. You can see that cloud and low cloud through the central lowlands with this first thing. It did burn back eventually, but took some time. And where it lingered, Edinburgh, Inverness, low to mid-teens. In the west, though, 27 degrees, as I mentioned. If you are underneath it, though, well, pretty poor there in Edinburgh compared with elsewhere. And into this evening and overnight, that mist, murk and low cloud reforming around some eastern coast, pushing in towards the central lowlands, the far north and in towards the northwest. Temperatures holding 11 to 14 Celsius. But we start the day tomorrow with that mist and murk once again, because it's a very similar setup in terms of what we're likely to see, with that warm air coming in from the east, and there'll be some sunshine. But first thing, like this morning, it will be a slow start, certainly across parts of the central lowlands, but it should burn back. We just need a bit of patience. Elsewhere, some sunshine, but you can see that low cloud still with us across parts of the far north, in towards the Moray Firth and down the east coast, and it will likely linger through parts of South Lanarkshire, the borders, Edinburgh, the Lothians, Clackmannanshire, Fife, parts of eastern Angus and eastern Aberdeenshire. West of here, though, some sunshine like today, and temperatures up to around the mid-20s. Low cloud once again affecting parts of the Moray Firth, Inverness too, in towards Orkney, parts of Caithness and through the Western Isles, but elsewhere some sunshine. A lovely start to the weekend. For those hill walking or climbing, it will be a chilly start in some of the glens with that mist and murk, some low cloud, but actually sunshine developing widely through the day, breezy through central and southern ranges. Across the east, a little more in the way of cloud, but temperatures on the summit still in the mid to high teens. So it will be a warm day. You'll need to be stripping off those layers once you get out of that low cloud. Into tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, that low cloud, mist and murk once again rolling back westwards, this time with a few showers. And actually looking ahead towards Sunday, a slightly different weather setup. We've cut off that easterly low pressure now moving its way northwards, so altogether a cloudier day. There'll still be some sunshine, certainly through parts of central and southwestern Scotland, but elsewhere largely cloudy, a few showers pushing in towards the southeast. In the sunshine though, temperatures not too bad. 21 or 22 Celsius, cooler around the coast and across the Isles. And talking of cooler, look at this for the outlook. Yes, in the 20s at the weekend, but by Tuesday and Wednesday, some 10 degrees cooler with some showers. And in the mountains, those showers could be wintry. That's the forecast for now.
Thanks very much indeed, Chris. Before we go, just some breaking news this evening. Staff at one of Scotland's biggest social care providers are threatening to go on strike. Unison members at Enable Scotland are being balloted for industrial action after rejecting a pay deal. Enable Scotland hasn't commented yet. And McAlpine will be here with your late news at around 10:30 tonight. But until then, from everyone in the team, enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.